Welcome to the Reimagine podcast. Each week, give yourself 30 minutes and meet the people working hard to create the future of insurance today.
Hi, this is Paul Tyler, and welcome to another episode of the Reimagine podcast. Laura, how are you?
I am doing well. It's been a bit since we've been here together on this show, and I'm excited to kick it back off.
Yeah. We're talking more about Retiretech, more about the future of providing important planning for people in later stages of their lives, and we have with us a recurring guest who's really had been focused for a long time on one of the core problems of retirement planning, which is when do I take Social Security? Jack Sharry, do you want to just talk a little bit about your role at LifeYield
Sure.
for people who don't know you? And
Sure. So Jack Sharry here. Well, hello everyone. Good to be speaking with you. I also do a podcast. Paul and Laura have been on. They'll be on again. Good to be on yours. So I'm the Chief Growth Officer for LifeYield, a principal in the organization. We're a software company based in Boston. We work with over 100,000 advisors across the industry on technology, on software, on connecting dots to make it easier, better, faster for advisors to help their clients have more money over time to maximize their retirement paychecks. So we'll talk a lot about that. But basically, we're a software provider that helps advisors do more and better business and helps clients have more money in their retirement.
well, let's double click just a little more into the problem. Social Security. Why is that why is that the problem that you've all kind of locked onto with your company?
So it's about 15 years ago, one of our clients, named many will know, Franklin Templeton, came to us and decided to talk about Social Security. And so, like all of our best ideas, it was somebody else's, and we adapted it, and we've adapted and we adopted and adapted over time. And today we have about 100,000 advisors that use our tool. And what we learned along the way, we've learned a bunch, I'll share that with you. What we learned is it's the first question people ask when they consider retirement. And I recall I used to work in the same building that Paul works in and Laura works in Hartford, Connecticut. I was working there at the time, Phoenix. I was coming up over the hill, looking down into the valley of the Connecticut River Valley and seeing the boat building and in my sights. And I just turned 50. I'm a little older than that these days. And I thought to myself, holy mackerel, I got to figure out retirement. And one of the first questions I asked, and what we've come to learn that almost every consumer asks, what do I do about Social Security? When should I take it? Is it solvent? All the questions I'm sure advisors get every day. What we've come to learn is that it is the first question people ask. And more importantly, we'll get into some of the details on it, but more importantly for the advisor, once you answer that question, once you show them how to take Social Security benefits, which usually is a delay. The government gives you an 8% increase each year between ages 62 and 70. So 8% per year of free money. So most consumers we speak with through the advisor, most wait, and then they have more money. So I'll give you an idea because our software sort of lays this out in terms of the dollars saved or dollars available for retirement income. Last year, we've observed hang on, let me just. We captured on behalf of advisors $11 billion of free money with our tool. It's a very simple, straight-ahead tool. It takes literally about 30 seconds to do it with a client, just basic age, marital status, that kind of stuff. Not a lot of questions. And they're on average, the average client or consumer we see saves about $182,000. So it's found money that they can use toward their retirement. And that's predicated on the idea that you're going to wait to take your Social Security benefits. And then we have a whole bunch of, and we'll talk some more about this, a whole bunch of ways to show the advisor how to help the client not only have more money, but the second question we found over extensive research, namely we just talked to advisors. The second question is, what do I do with my rollover? And I've been around this industry a long time, and I refer to the rollover as the currency of growth for advisors, because you find that rollover. That's where those six-figure chunks of money come in, and you're able to do a good job. You've already helped them out in Social Security. They're appreciative. They want to know what to do next. So it's a great business development opportunity for the advisor. And with that, you can show them how to improve outcome over time because they have more money and they're getting good advice, and they're building a relationship which is based on you doing right by the client by finding money for them.
So I'm curious to kind of go a little bit deeper into that. You mentioned that we'll talk more later on, but helping the advisors help the clients.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us more about that. In an age of technology, and again, we'll go there in a little bit, but in the age of tech where things seem to be changing awfully quickly, and the system has been around for a very long time and may not be changing at the same pace, what have you been seeing? What have you been hearing? And how have you been adapting what you're doing to meet the current realities of the sphere?
Well, great question, Laura. The first thing we found is that start with the question that's most prominent in their minds. As I mentioned a moment ago, by finding that money that really is available if you do things right, if you apply for benefits in a smart way, that's what the software is really designed to do and to set that up. And once you do that, then they have further questions. And as a company, one of the things that we do, in addition to the Social Security optimization, we're the industry leader by far in terms of all the number of folks we work with and help bring benefit to. One of the things that we learned, first of all, is that you got to keep the software simple, and that's vital. And it's hard. A lot of the stuff is quite complex. So we've basically what we came up with 15 years ago is kind of how it works today. A little more refined, little slicker, a little more attractive, a little easier to use, but really not a whole lot different because we kind of hit on something that was a kind of simple, straightforward, benefit-oriented kind of approach. What we're doing beyond that, we're working with a variety of firms in a variety of ways, but what we look to do is then how can we help in terms of minimizing taxes? Because taxes are the single biggest expense that investors, clients could incur. So we're always looking for ways to help in that regard, and we're going to be doing some work with you all where you're doing a lot of that tax benefit, but we're showing how to tie in Social Security and tie in what, say, an annuity can do to help the investor, help the client have more money and also have more peace of mind. So we refer to this as solution selling. You talk about the solution as opposed to a product or features and benefits of one product over another. I kind of gave up on that long ago. I've been working in the product realm forever. What we're finding now, especially over the past few years, it's all around putting tech into what we called products, or really are products, annuities and what have you. By combining them, you're going to produce a better outcome, a better experience, more understandable, easier for the client to embrace, frankly, and easier for the client to tell their friends. Yeah, it's one of those things. Let me talk a little bit about the consumer. I'm speaking to people that are talking to them every day, but I happen to be of a certain age where the people I hang out with, many of whom are taking their Social Security benefits or at least considering it. And one of the things that I find in talking with consumers literally every day, friends, because I kind of test market, if you will, what we're doing, they have no idea what we're talking about. You talk about an annuity, they don't know what an annuity is. They know what an income stream is, and they know saving on taxes is good, and they know found money is good. So much of what we try to do, and I know everyone really is, we're moving in this direction. How do we make it easier for the people, for consumers to do the right thing? And then often, frankly, we've been our own, as an industry, we've been our own worst enemy many times. And really what I'm heartened to see is across the industry, especially with the advent of both tech and products like annuities and insurance and so on, by bringing them together, one, easier to understand, and two, you have more money. And that's one of the things that we have built into our software. We always quantify the benefit in dollars and cents. How do I have more money? Because what I find, people like the idea of more money.
Yeah, it's we'll talk more about the announcement we put out and what people will see from us over the next year here. We're excited about it, by the way. But yeah, you alluded to this. Annuities are a terrific product for helping people defer and actually collect that $11 billion in money that they might not have, they might have left on the table, which I think it's a powerful combination. I guess, back to the Social Security question, Jack, people have that discussion, but how dynamic do you think that discussion is going to be? We won't go into politics, but, we all had a little bit of a scare this early this year around, well, what happens if, we don't have money to pay people who are in Social Security? What's your perspective on Social Security, its durability, but also how could it and how might it change over the next 10, 15 years?
Yeah, we're actually working on an article right now that'll be published sometime, probably around the time this podcast may appear. We'll keep you posted on that. But we're addressing that. Paul Samuelson is our chief investment officer who works on our algorithms and so on. His dad was the Nobel laureate and is working on an article as we speak about this. I'll give you my quick take. Social Security is not going away. You've seen a few conversations in the news about that possibility and how quickly that shuts down and how quickly anyone that has a notion about getting rid of it backs away. So I just don't see it happening. Anytime that gets mentioned, it's like taking a poison pill. You're killing yourself. And so we don't see that. And we'll have more to say about it just to help fortify the advisor. And it's an important and significant benefit. Might there be modifications? I'm going to guess so, but boy, it's tough to change that, especially when people have paid into it for decades. And to take it away, you see what's happening on other issues in the news. Taking a benefit away is problematic, we'll just say. So we'll see how that plays out. In the meantime, and especially for those that are in or near retirement or within the span of being able to take Social Security benefits, we essentially we don't see it changing anytime soon. And if it does, it'll be much further out. And even then, we don't think it'll be changing much. But the idea is that the government gives you a raise by waiting. And you should take advantage of it. And it should be part of a broader and deeper discussion, advisor to client, about how to maximize retirement income. We think that conversation is not only has it heated up, it will continue to heat up. And a big factor in the midst of that is what to do about taxes, and something we spend a lot of time on. So we see it as things getting better on the retirement income front, but we do not see Social Security going away by any means.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. As part of the millennial generation, there's been a lot of conversation around, we won't receive these benefits. Will we? Will they be smaller? What will it look like? So that gives me a little bit of hope for my retirement here. But want to shift the conversation a little bit. There's been a lot of energy and conversation about generative AI, what it can do, how it can help, the fear involved, the ethics, etc. Taking a look at retirement planning as it currently sits, and if you had a magic ball to look into the future, you name your time frame here. If you had a magic ball, how do you think what we see in advances in AI and what people are getting more and more familiar with, how is it going to affect this conversation down the road, whether it's through tech or any other element?
So I follow this discussion in the news, probably like so many people listening today. I can't figure it out. I really don't know how it's going to play out specifically. And I think whatever I might come up with is going to be as good as anyone else's guess. It's just a guess. But I'll talk about the output in terms of what I see happening. And I'm going to switch fields, talking about the healthcare business. Anytime most of us go to a doctor of any description, we have to fill out the same forms every time. So just at its most basic level, that we have to do that each time, frankly, is ridiculous, but there it is. Well, the same is true, frankly. The typical investor, consumer has multiple accounts, multiple advisors, lots of confusion around what they have. And then have to fill out different forms at different times. They have different asset allocations based on whatever they set up 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago, because they have so many different accounts. So it's just a hodgepodge. It's frankly just a mess. So where I see AI coming in, and I think it's going to take a little longer. It's something we'll just talk about for a while. It's just my personal view. But where it will come in is by collecting data so that when you sit down with an advisor, it's all there. So it's just sort of a common platform. So like the common app for if you have kids going to school, there's a common app. It just makes sense to have common information because when it comes down to it, the typical household has IRAs and Roth IRAs and taxable accounts. Some have trusts, and then they have various products like alternatives and annuities and so on. And it's a hodgepodge. Where we see the world going, and we're playing an important role in this across the industry, is how do you connect and coordinate all those products, capabilities, including Social Security, which is not within a client's realm so much as it's a benefit that they can access. All that's being coordinated increasingly. We're actively working on these things today. They'll be coordinated in such a way is how in a dynamic, comprehensive, coordinated way, how do you have it bring it all together? Ultimately, if you do it smart, and we have software that does that, if you do it smart, you're going to have more money as you accumulate and as you withdraw over time. So I'll give you an example. We've done some work where we show how to accumulate assets through something called asset location. It's different than asset allocation. You still want to have that, but asset location, putting in the right kind of accounts over time. And then you accumulate more money if you do that. And then when it comes to in between, what should I do about Roth conversion? What should I do about RMD guidance and so on? We weigh in there. And then ultimately, how do I draw it down in a tax efficient way, maintaining my risk profile? Those are some of the things we're working on today. So that's where the world's going. That's how it's coming together. AI will feed that as in terms of an information flow to make it more seamless and to make it less confusing. I think it's going to be another important role for AI. So ultimately, what will happen is your data will be collected. It will have that common apps, so to speak, and then I'll accumulate more efficiently and I'll withdraw more efficiently, and I'll coordinate more and more of my accounts to make it so.
All right, that's interesting. I'm going to push a little farther here on this one. I'll try to keep the setup as short as possible here. But Jack, have you played around with any of these chatbots like ChatGPT or Bard writing code? No,
not my bag.
It's blows my mind. I did some stuff, sent it over to one of our developers. He's like, "What? Yeah. What?" We've had some interesting discussions here. Now, there's some very interesting platforms coming to market. GitHub has a product called Copilot that's I'm hearing raves from. Sort of sits on a desk. It's supposed to sit on the side of your programmer's desk, help them write the code. And I've heard some phenomenal stuff. If I'm an advisor, what's the future of like giving Social Security advice? Will I have a chatbot sitting on my desktop? It's a Lars question that helps me be, tap into some of even tap in deeper to the expertise that your group does and actually get answers back that help me be a better advisor on the fly.
Yeah, very interesting questions. It strikes me as with so much of where we're heading when it comes to technology, I think the individual advisor will be assisted, will be enabled by their firm, the larger firm that has the capital, the wherewithal to connect all these dots, or the product manufacturer, as we've historically called them, places like Nassau, that are going. You're the ones, like we're a software enabler within, we're the intel inside. So you all at Nassau will be doing a lot more along these lines than we will. We'll follow your lead. You're going to feed us better data. We're going to come up with better outcomes, that kind of thing. So too at the depending on how an advisor is affiliated with a firm, the capital required to bring all this together is just larger than an individual producer can do. So I think the places to look are places like Nassau, the firm they're affiliated with, and find out what you have in mind. And I know you're working on it. You're looking at it. What we'll then do is we'll turbocharge it, if you will. I'm not sure that's a compliantly accurate term, I should say. But the idea is that we're all about taking known rules, taking known gaps and filling them in such a way that we produce a better outcome than quantifying that benefit. But we're going to be fed information from firms and from product folks like yourself that are going to power our ability to make for better outcome for the advisor and the client.
I'm just clicking away over here, taking some notes. I think this is really interesting. You know, as we play around with this stuff ourselves and talk to other people who are doing it, everyone's opinion is different, and it's curious to see where we're going to end up, because like you said, everyone is guessing at this point, and we'll see where we land. But you know, let's talk a little bit about what we're doing together. And you talked.
Actually, you know, Laura, can I add something else
Please
before
do.
we go on to that?
Yeah.
So, Paul, I'll bank off of your last question. So, to our friendly editor, I'll just add it to my comments to Paul a moment ago. One of the things I do know is that what drives this kind of advance, these sorts of innovations, is bringing in more money. Whether you're a firm or you're a producer or your product manufacturer or what have you, it's about new money coming into that to the business, finding more clients who prize what's being offered by the advisor, who's empowered and enabled by their firm and the firms and the manufacturers they work with. It's all about more money, and more money begets more innovation, more investment. And so if you want to see where we're going, see who's doing smart things and bringing in more money, and find out why. And one of the things that we're seeing with our clients, at the core of it, if you want to bring in more money, address issues like Social Security, address issues like taxes. Because I think what we've learned is that we've had an extended, essentially bull market for as long as I've been around, 40 plus years. And I think people are recognizing that may not continue. So if I can't rely on the market to help my retirement and make me look good, what am I going to do about it? Well, it's taxes. Taxes are the single biggest expense consumers incur, period, by far. So what are you doing about it? And I know, and we'll probably get into that in a little bit, Laura, we're going to be doing some things together on taxes and Social Security.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go there, I'll let Paul take that piece of it. But now you have me curious. You're talking about clients, you're talking about more money. Most people enjoy having more money, especially as they're going into retirement and what that means for them. Expectations from clients. As these tools evolve, as the information evolves, the outcome, the increase in money is, being the goal. Are expectations changing along with those elements? And then how are we, as a grouping here, how are we meeting those expectations, or in best cases exceeding them?
Well, I think clients are pretty much all from Missouri. Show me the money. And one of the things that we've learned, again, as so many of our brilliant ideas, they were learned the hard way. Someone came up with it and said, could you do this? And we say, yeah, that's a good idea. We'll do that. And one of the things we came up with is quantifying the benefit, because it's one thing to say you're going to be better off. And that's one of the reasons I think performance has been such a driver in terms of so many people saving toward retirement, because you show a client statement, it seemed to always go up. Well, if that's not as available as maybe it once was, how do you demonstrate value? And one of the things that we've made sure to do with all the ways we work with our clients, we're all businesses. We don't work directly with advisors, we work through other businesses to empower advisors. It's always about showing how there's more money, and more money for the client and more money for the advisor. Because if you take good care of clients, you have more money that you're responsible for. So I think really what it comes down to in terms of expectations is demonstrating value by quantifying benefit.
Yeah, well, and to that to that point, we just released an announcement about a partnership that we've launched, and Jack, I'm sure this will just grow over time, but we really want to bring as many resources to the table that we can to make advisors who are selling our products better able to plug them into solve real important problems. Social Security, as you say, is probably the biggest thing. And, we have fixed index annuities that are very good at delivering guaranteed income, especially in early years of retirement. That's what you need to get you to for taking Social Security. I guess if you think about the communication challenges today, uh, what are what are the sort of biggest needs you see advisors asking for to start a communication that typically starts more digitally today than in person? Probably ends up as an in-person conversation, but more and more the attract, prospect, develop relationships starts on email, starts on Zoom, starts on social media. So I guess what are advisors asking for in terms of starting that really important conversation?
Well, my observation, again, hanging out with some people of a certain age, their issues change as they're near retirement or in retirement. It really changes rather dramatically. They sort of recast. And to your earlier question, Laura, about expectations, their expectation is not about the best product per se, but how can you help me figure out other issues? And one of those is kind of starts with, do I feel comfortable that I'm going to be okay? Do I feel comfortable? So the idea of peace of mind guarantees or assurances in terms of how the product offerings operate, uh, having assurances around minimizing taxes, having an understanding of how to maximize Social Security benefits. And I could keep going with a very long list of other things that most advisors don't get into, like where do they live and how do they, manage a budget. And, certain advisors go there, others don't. But the more that the advisor can be that trusted advisor, more than just in a product sale, I just think that those days are over. It's like, how do you help them have peace of mind? How do you help them manage their life? Not to manage the everyday, but at least from a strategic standpoint, how do you provide guidance about where to live, about healthcare issues? Each year, twice a year, we attend the Tiburon CEO Summit. Chip Rome, who runs that, talks about. He says clients want to know how to maximize. If you're not helping clients maximize retirement income, address healthcare concerns, and have peace of mind, and address taxes. I'm sorry, and address taxes. What are you doing? Because that's what they want to know. And so that includes, and it's more than just something that winds up with a commission or a fee, but rather about how can you get them comfortable? Because in my view, you're going to have more commissions than fees if you do that. So it's help the client and help yourself in that order with the kind of issues that they want and need help with. And I think increasingly we've talked a little earlier about solution selling or offering up solutions that are beyond a particular product as we've known them. I think that is the trend. We're seeing it very clearly. How do you provide solutions that lead to peace of mind? And I find peace of mind leads to referrals, leads to more money coming your way. It's a win-win. So I'm seeing a clear shift in that direction as people are a little bit more expansive in their view in terms of helping their clients solve issues or address issues that they're concerned about.
So as we're at the top of our time here, I want to wrap with your sentiment there was just the perfect note for this. You talk a lot about providing peace of mind, providing information, providing knowledge, and what that enables on both a financial side, but more importantly, a client side, and what that means to them for not only themselves, their family, but their retirement. Mm-hmm. Jack, why is it that you wake up every day and do the work that you do?
That's a great question. So I'll give you a very brief history. I started in this industry as an annuity wholesaler 40 years ago. I'd never been inside a brokerage house, which is where you went back then to do those. They were the first folks to sell annuities back in the day, beyond insurance, people in the insurance side. And I had no clue. But I did have a good sense of how to help people grow their practice. So that's what I did. It was my motto then, it is today. I always add value, or seek to always add value. And whoever I work with, like you know, Paul, Laura, you too, advisors, individual advisors, executives I speak to across the industry, and that is more and better business. How can I help you do more and better business? So who's ever in front of me, my mantra, what gets me up every day, and I do get up very, very excited every day, well, pretty much every day. And that is, how can I help people do more and better business? And when I do that, I benefit. I don't do it but I do it in that order. If I help them, I get a win too. But that's what gets me up in the morning is more and better business, always adding value. In fact, I wrote a book about it.
Excellent. Well, you mentioned driving, over the hill, down the Connecticut Valley, looking at Hartford, how you felt then, Jack. And I know, listen, I'm in that same range, right? Where you say, it's not, it's getting it's a lot closer in the mirror. How do you feel today? You drive over the hill, see the buildings where you in the community where you put a lot of work. How do you feel about, where life is taking you now?
Well, I have two grandchildren. I happen to be, as we do this podcast, I'm in the midst of helping my wife babysit them. She's doing the lion's share of the work, but it's just very exciting to see an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old and all that's ahead of them. So another reason, Laura, to your question, what gets me up in the morning is not to get too grandiose, but how to make a better life for them. And I'm very bullish on what can be, notwithstanding there are issues. There's always been issues. I'm a bit of a history buff. There's always been issues. There always will be issues. We'll get through this too. But what can I do? What can I do to make for a better life for my family, really is what it comes down to. And then the people I work with.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, Jack, thanks for your time, and look forward to working more closely with your team over the coming months. And for all your listeners, listen, if you haven't checked out where LifeYield is headed, please do. Great company, great set of individuals, including Jack at the helm of solving a pretty important problem in the whole retirement space. And I will, Jack, put you in the Retiretech bucket.
Great.
If you didn't know that there was a bucket there before. But anyway, listen, give us feedback, and join us again next week or for another episode of the Reimagine podcast. Thanks.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and recommend us on iTunes, Stitcher, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more great information about this company and other great startups at imagine.nfg.com.
Product features and availability may vary by state. Nassau Single Premium Deferred Fixed Indexed Annuities are issued by Nassau Life and Annuity Company, Hartford, Connecticut. In California, Nassau Life and Annuity Company does business as Nassau Life and Annuity Insurance Company. Nassau Life and Annuity Company is not authorized to conduct business in Maine and New York, but that is subject to change. Nassau Life and Annuity Company is a subsidiary of Nassau Financial Group. LifeYield is an independent company and is not an affiliate of Nassau.
$11 billion in savings referenced in this podcast is based on LifeYield internal data and reporting metrics as of June 30, 2023. Subject to change.